Good morning, folks. Praying all is well. Going back to what happened in the White House with Zelensky um, being escorted out the White House by the Trump administration. Zelensky is the president of Ukraine. What worries me about that whole situation is that wars have started because of one man in the past. Take World War One, the killing of what's old boy's name? I always pronounce his name wrong. The Ferdinand dad or something like that. He that kicked that off. One man got killed. Somebody from Hungary did it, and no, not because they were hungry. Actually, a Serb did it. A Serb did it. Then the Russians got caught up in that war. Anyway, Zelensky, that one man, this whole situation, again, he had no wins in this war that his country is in against the Russians. The Russians went back, what was it, 2010, or it's been years since the Russians went in there and they took some of their land away. Then it stood like that for a while. Then Biden came in and they went at it again. That's where we're at. Now, the best they were hoping for, as to what I've heard, is that whatever land the Russians already had, they were going to keep it. Right? That it was just going to stay like that for now. Some say that they were going to grab more land. So I'm not sure what was going to... The best they could have gotten was that things went back to the way they were, where the Russians took that. And then once peace is done, then try to figure that out. Oh boy wants to continue to fight, but he doesn't have the weapons like that, the technology, unless the US supplies it, right? Now the EU, the Europeans, which consists of, again, France, Germany, the UK, they also supplied the weapons and whatnot to help in this war effort. But what's crazy is when the US says, hey, we're out, everybody wants to be upset. Like, no, imagine, right? If you go to a basketball game, all right, and you're playing and you've been playing for a while and you say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going home. Why would everybody else get upset? The game could continue. Now, the US doesn't recommend it, because what could happen from that, and this is where it gets real dangerous, is that they supply the weapons to Ukraine, and not only that, the EU begins to supply manpower, boots on the ground. If they do, that's probably going to set off with the Russians are going to attack, Germany, the Brits, and all of that. Now, do I think the Russians have the ability? Not really, but the EU doesn't. They don't have much either, And let's not forget, at the end of it all, the Russians, they have those bombs that could handle an extreme situation. So that's why when they were in the White House and President Trump and Zelensky were going back and forth, Trump told him, "You're playing with World War III." That's why he was telling him that, like, hey, you're playing with fire, dude. Because, like I just stated, if the U.S. pulls out and the Russians, that could turn into some, and this is the way I think, right? As an American, I'm looking at it like, yeah, we say we're not gonna get, if we just walk away now and be like, y'all handle that, right? And a war like that breaks out, we will end up in that war. We will end up in that war. Now, I don't think what we are going to allow is if the Russians start to beat up on the Brits, we're going to have to once again be like, nah, man. Either, hey, that's enough, back up, time out, or we're going to have to jump in this fray. And that's what that would be. Again, this is just me thinking as to the human mindset. And that's what's scary about it. I mean, I believe that the president from UK, deep down, I think he's a really good dude. That man was a comedian. He saw his country. I mean, that was corruption all over the place, probably still is. And he came into his spot as the leader of that country right in the beginning of the war, of this one right here that they've been going at for what, the third year now, just over that. And like I said, and let me tell you, his people put up a heck of a fight. A heck of a fight. They fought. This is what I don't understand. Why would you, as a country, take over land from another country, settle there, when the people, if the people there don't want you, you could believe that when you take over that piece of land, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be that easy. And even though you took care of it, sabotaging is gonna happen. It's not gonna be just like, well, we got it and that's it. No. So why take the land over? I think, well, I do know the minerals and all of that, and geography, like I said, this got kicked off when I don't know who in their wisdom thought it was a bright idea to offer Ukraine a seat in NATO. NATO was created to fight against who? The Russians. Or to protect against the Russians, right? How are you going to set up shop right next to them? They were like, no, they cannot become part of that. So just now, the president was like, listen, let's go back to normal. Ukraine is not going to become part of NATO. And let's go from there. Yeah, but that's what my fear is, that this could turn into something really huge over one man. Anyway, guys, you guys be safe out there. God bless and take care of yourselves.